Here is Rickie. We're at the end of week 2. She survived the smoke and all that nastiness. She's doing great. Here's the bit I use. It is a Dave Elliott Spur Up 3 short shank with the square mouthpiece. I start every ride with her like straight to business. I don't do the Colt lope out your energy for 10 minutes and then we'll get to work. I go straight to work with her. Her training is more mental right now than physical. She can do a lot physically. She's physically very mature and aware of herself and good at using herself. It's mental. She has a mental block when it comes to work. So you're going to see a little battle break out here. Side passing has been a challenge we're not on side passing yet. Backing up has been a challenge since day 1. She makes me drag her backwards, and I don't do that. I don't drag my horses anywhere. That is not how you win a barrel race. So I prefer to just be able to ask my horses and they do things. She doesn't believe in that yet. She's getting better. But anyways, so see how she's dragging her feet, not picking those feet up and actually stepping back with any energy. I'm not happy with that. So I break her feet loose for a minute and kind of get her respecting the bit. Giving her the benefit of the doubt a little bit. Hey, remember, stuff like that. I don't like to be mean to horses. I don't like to start fights, but unfortunately she has to be reminded that we do things my way. I'm not that person that gets to a barrel race and my young horse acts like an asshole for the first 10 minutes. When I'm on their back, it's business, you know what I mean? Like, there's no playtime when I'm on your back. So she's learning that. And now there's energy and she's actually lifting her feet up and stepping back instead of dragging them back. So I'm happy with that. So we're allowed to move on. She's gotten herself into a few battles with me and she's had to find the way out. Like, the problem just doesn't go away. We'll try it again later. I have found with her, you got to stick with it and make her turn her brain on and find the answer. Because of the smoke, everything's just been at a walk and really easy trot. So she's not in the best of shape. You'll see in this video, she peters out pretty quickly. But this is also my sand arena, so it's harder to move in. Her flexibility laterally has gotten really good at a walk and a trot. It's not great at a lope yet, but that will come. But she's really soft both directions now. Both directions are pretty dang even now, and that's quite the feat because that first day I had nothing to the right. One thing to notice that I really want you to watch in this video is my hands with her. I never draw her like back and into herself. She hides behind the bit and gets really hard and tries to just do things her way when you let her hide behind the bit. So I never ask her to bridle up. Really, I try to keep my hands kind of up and in the air, higher than I normally would, because I want her head to stay up. When she puts her head down, that's when she does things her way. So I'm really trying to break her of that habit of hiding behind the bit and then just doing what she wants. I am also never pulling on her. I'm bumping. Everything I do with her mouth is a bump, a simple bump with the rein. And that is because she has a hard mouth. So the more I use her mouth, the harder it's going to stay. So the bump, release is teaching her, like, if she gives to that first instance of pressure, it's going to go away for a second. It's gotten a ton better. That's been like 9 rides or 10 maybe now of just working on that simple lesson that if she is just soft right away, the pressure goes away. So I hope you can see bump. There she got into that habit of hiding behind the bit. So I brought my hands up and forward. And notice when she does something wrong, you have to go right back to it and you have to make her think through it and find the solution. You can't let her out of anything because you let her out of something one time and she remembers it and she's going to use that against you the next time. So at a lope, like I said, she's not as good yet, but we haven't done much loping, so I don't expect much. But you'll see when she gets hard what I do. Like, I correct it right away. I don't usually like having to correct them with the bit. Like, that's not what a bit is for, to me. It's not for discipline, but unfortunately, I tried it other ways. I tried, really using my heels and my legs, and I got a whip out and stuff to try to soften her body up, to soften her mouth up, but she just wasn't having it at all. So I had to go to this bit. This bit has some bite to it, like if she gets hard in the mouth, I can get hard back with this bit. And unfortunately, it's really taught her that, you might not want to battle the bit. So I've had to keep using it, and until this goes away, that's how I'm going to keep reprimanding her. And it seems to be working. I have never made her mouth, bloody or anything on the corners. So, but it does hurt if she makes me use it. So, I want you to also see how I'm using this bit. I'm using it a little different than most people would. I'm not using the chin strap to get anything done. I'm actually using the sides of the bit. See how I'm tipping that bottom ring out away from her face? That is pushing the top ring into her cheek. And that's an uncomfortable feeling, and she doesn't know how to battle it except for to give to it and make that pressure go away. So that's what I'm doing. But see how I have to pull up and out to make that action happen? I just really wanted you to see that so you can mimic that at home if she ever gets hard in your hands. Next week, I'm going to start working on her respecting my legs and moving off my legs a little bit more, especially in the turns. So that's how, we'll teach her to finish a barrel turn, is when you apply outside leg. She comes around. I've worked so much on her softness in her face, and I haven't really worried too much about that aspect. But today I touch on it a little bit. She doesn't do it great, but I also don't expect it. We haven't worked on it, So right now she's learning to respect my hands. And now next it'll be learn to respect my legs. Again, notice my hand position. When she tucks down, you lose control with this horse when she tucks down away from the bit. So when she tucks down, I raise up. I bring my hands forward and up, like almost to her ears, and I just bump on her mouth till her head comes up, and then I release. She's learned to use the head position to get out of things, so I'm not letting her do that anymore. So right there was just a little bit of outside leg, and she's going to learn, like, when the outside leg comes down, it's closing that door and she needs to, move away. So she'll learn that, but you'll see it in better detail next week. Just a heads up with this mare, I have found you really have to, her instructions have to be in a ABC format. Like, she's never allowed to skip B. Step 1 is always step 1, step 2 is always step 2, and then step 3 will come. She's not dumb. And she has found, like, if she just does something and does it her way, it gets her out of, it lets her skip a step. But the problem with that is that whole skipping a step thing is her taking control, and that's where you get into trouble with this mare. So for instance, stopping and rolling back, step 1 is stopping, step 2 is bending, and step 3 is moving. So I always make her come to a stop, I make her bend, and then I release that bend for a minute, and then I make her bend again. Sometimes I do it 2 times, sometimes I do it 3 times. I always mix it up with her, but she has to stand in one spot and give me her face, and then give me her face and move. If I let her combine it all, she starts doing things her way, and it just gets ugly, and before I know it, she's stiff in the face. You know what I mean? It snowballs. So you really have to be black and white and not skip steps with this horse. The first week, when I would stop her, for instance, she would stop, but then she'd just grab that bit and jerk me out of the saddle practically. So we worked on that, and then I'd come to a stop, and she'd say soft, and then I'd ask her to bend, and she'd just start moving and bending, moving and bending. Well, that's her way of doing it her way, not your way, if that makes sense. So I was like, no, first you bend, and I'd bend her 6 times to the right. Well, then she got smart and was like, oh, I'm going to be super stiff to the right because I know you're going to bend me that way. So I had to then change it up and bend her to the left first and then the right first. And then she caught on to that. And the minute I bent her to the right, she'd try to just move instead of bend. So, like, she's put me through the ringer as far as having to outsmart her and outthink her. So, like, literally every single time I come to a stop, I bend her, or almost every time. I mix it up on her. I've always got to be outthinking her, but it's always stop, bend left, bend right, straighten out, bend right again. Then I apply outside leg, then she can move. It's always those steps. If she tries to move before I apply the outside leg, I have to stop her again and start over. She's got to learn, like, you got to do things my way. You not just do it, but do it the correct way, if that makes sense. Side passing has gotten a ton better. A couple rides ago, she would just kind of grab the bit and try to go really fast through the side pass. And when that happens, I get my hands up and I bump her back down off the bit. And I don't mean back down like down to her chest. I mean slow down, soften up on that bit. Nothing is ever, get your head to your chest, because she's learned how to use that to her advantage now. So side passing's gotten better. Stopping's gotten a ton better. She hardly ever pulls me out of the saddle anymore. And bending to the left and right is a ton better too. So here's what I was talking about. Come to a stop, bend left, bend right, mix it up, bend left again, bend right again. Now I apply leg, now you can move. Seriously, 2 weeks ago, she would have like lunged the minute I applied leg, because she just wanted to straighten her head out so badly. So we've worked really hard on that. She's doing a ton better. But there she is. We're going to keep working. Now we're getting into the loping and stuff. And now that the smoke is gone, I will be able to send you a lot more videos, hopefully.